All right, let's get to the main show. This is the problematic white guy tier list. So to be on this list, you have to be a white person that I am somehow connected to, whether it be because we have actually done content together, because I've done content about you, because I've come to know you outside of content, or because I'm highly aware of your presence within the general scope of things, and some niggas don't like you. Now, I may still fuck with you, but I have to acknowledge that it's some niggas that don't trust you. Eye Patch Wolf is not on the list just because that's my boy, and I refuse to. Eye Patch Wolf is above all. He is above this spot. I wouldn't deign to compare the king of the Irish to any other white. Okay, he is unrankable. Only people I think that don't like Eye Patch Wolf are just shitty people, so like there's nothing to even engage with, right? Here's the point of this video. We have a really lazy analysis on white dudes. And I get it. I get why. That's why I made that Charlie Kirk video. It's one of the reasons why I'm making a whiteness video that I'm gonna try to have exclusive to Nebula. When I made that talking to white people thing, it's because we've allowed the Dr. Umarification of white people. It makes it so it's too easy for white folks with certain skill sets and certain presentations to sneak in and for us not to know what useful allies look like. Does that make sense? Yeah, give me some people to ask. So Professor Sky is a good one. Who am I missing while I'm here? Who am I missing? Bill Maher, that's a good one. Dean Withers is a good one. I have an irrational dislike of Dean. I have to just be real. I don't think Dean is that bad, but I just cannot stand him for reasons I don't feel righteous about. Already got Hasan on there. Louis C.K., because y'all are naming a lot of people I don't have a real opinions on or interest in. We should have Joe Rogan on there. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm putting Joe Rogan on there. Rogan represents the outer limit of the point of this Mac Jones. All right, wait. I will put Mac Jones on there. All right, that's it. I can't put no more. We got a lot of good candidates. Thank you, chat. Somebody said you got to put a true problematic figure on here. I think all of these people will, except for Dan Olsen. Let's start with Dan. Olsen. Because I think of all the people on the list, Dan has no real controversial anything. We have crypto fascists. And let's just start by putting Joe Rogan there. Crypto fascist means you might have plausible deniability to say that you're not a fascist or a racist. But we see what you're doing. Top 10 white people. Oh my God. Okay, RK, thank you for giving me the title to this video. I'm gonna rename that. The new title for this one is Not Racist According to White People. That's the best way to put it. Not racist according to white people. All right, so let's keep going. Let's start with my boy Fantano. So Fantano, I love Fantano to death. Me and Fantano text a lot. Fantano is, of the white folks I know, and this is what makes it hard, he is one of the most self-aware, carefully moving white folks in anywhere around black folks' business. Does that make sense? And that actually is part of what makes it difficult for him. Because one, let's be real, Fantano has a sketchy past. Fantano, like a lot of white folks, like out of all these white people, who was not racist when they were 15? Is anybody on this list probably not? Professor Sky. Professor Sky wasn't racist when he was 15. That might be it. 99.9% of white people are racist up until the age of 15, and then it only goes down by like 5% every year after that. I'm trying to think, is anybody else on this list probably not racist when they were 15? Bernie? Okay, I'll give Bernie that. I think Bernie probably wasn't like, where's Bernie? And Norm Finkelstein. How are him and Norm Finkelstein? Oh, I got a couple people missing. Where's John Brown? Somehow Bernie, John Brown, and Norm Finkelstein weren't on the list, but they're there now. So aside from Bernie Sanders, Jesus, and Professor Sky, every white person on this list was racist as hell at 15. All of them. And I say that to all of them with love, because I know, listen, I just know, you ain't gotta lie to me. Don't take it personal. This is just the nature of whiteness. Whiteness's only reason to exist is racism, right? You think white Jesus was racist at 15? He might have been. You're right. White Jesus probably was racist at 15. I'll give you that. Maybe not Timothy Chalamet, it seems like. Timothy Chalamet seems like he was around a lot of black people all of a sudden when he was a teenager. He was doing the Soulja Boy dance. Clearly he was trying to do a lot more. So we'll see. Anyway, I say all I have to say, Fantano, of all the folks I fuck with, has persistently engaged with any criticism from his past. You know what I'm saying? When I said that you need to be ready to apologize every time somebody brings up some bullshit you were a part of in the past, I was thinking about Fantano. Because although Fantano's been dope for years now, Fantano understands he was running with some iffy, sketchy figures at a certain point in time. And so he's like,
yeah, my bad.
They brought it up again 6 months later.
Hey, I see y'all harness again. My bad.
18 months after that.
Oh, y'all found it again. Yeah, my bad.
And then he keeps it moving. And I don't think y'all appreciate that. Now, you can have issues with Fantano's music taste. You can have issues with Fantano's general presence in hip hop media, you know, which he doesn't fully control. But overall, you can't really take a lot of issue with anything Fantano does from a specific material level. Yeah, Forrest made a hit piece calling him a Nazi. That happens to Fantano because Fantano has skeletons. And mind you, here's the funniest thing. If you go and you look at Fantano's earlier content, it ain't nothing compared to some of these other motherfuckers that is recouped. It ain't nothing compared to some of these other motherfuckers, like at all. And right, and somebody mentioned DJ Vlad, and that's exactly why I find this interesting enough to talk about. So we'll have Fantano, and Fantano will get flack and will apologize. But then you got DJ Vlad, Adam 22. What's the British motherfucker we all hate so much? What's that dude? Trap Lord Ross. You have other white creators in the hip hop space that are actively still incredibly harmful that get basically no pressure over it. None. So y'all not about to fuck with my boy Fantano until we change the standard on that. All right, deep cut. The original idea about this video came during Hasan's dog shit. In fact, let me just get all of them up here. Let me get all of them up here real quick. Oh, I'm missing one. I know who I'm missing too, and I almost don't even want to put it on the screen. I gotta get him on the screen, you know, but it is what it is. So I guess we'll start with Hasan as I get to this category. So Hasan is up there with Fantano. We'll associate with publicly, obviously. Hasan and Fantano are similar. I actually don't think Hasan had like hardcore racist activity at 15, partly just because he wasn't even in America. Hasan is the least ethnically white, the most psychologically white. And I think that's Hasan's biggest challenge. Now, I say this publicly because I've also told him this privately, that Hasan's biggest problem is his ego and the amount of negative attention he gets makes for a volatile combination. Let me put the disclaimers out early. Hasan is a real motherfucker. I don't talk about it publicly because he wouldn't want to, but Hasan has done so many good things for a variety of real life political action situations that he does not talk about. Legit, I'll just leave it at that. Y'all never gonna get me to dislike Hasan based off content, because I've engaged with Hasan on real shit on numerous occasions, and he puts his money where his mouth is. He comes through in a way that I don't expect, and I know a lot of white creators, and I love a lot of them. I will call Hasan first. And on top of that, the irony of the black radical moment he had, the irony of the real bad look he had about a month ago is that none of these white creators have read a lick of black political anything. That's the main problem with the white online left right now, is that they've all read Marx, they've all read Hegel, they've all read insert white bearded guy here. Pretty much none of them have read Du Bois, have read Fanon, like basic 101 black figures in leftist theory. Hasan has, to a degree that if you actually go and you examine Hasan's takes when he gets into black people business from a political standpoint, as bad as it sometimes gets, and I have had issues with Hasan's takes at times, I also recognize where he's gotten certain shit from. Morris Moon says a lot of these white leftists are allergic to black intellectuals. They think it's all derivative of Marx. And that's just so untrue. I'm not saying he's the only one, mind you. I'm not saying he's the only one. I'm saying at his level, he's the only one. And I remember when I first realized, I was like, oh, this motherfucker know a little bit. Now, the problem is Hasan streams 10 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. And I've again told him this personally, you cannot be a normal, sensible person doing this that much. I am slowly going crazy right now.
Damn, did I do 6-7 again? Fuck.
I've only been on for like 2 hours. And in that 8-9 hours of streaming he does, 4 or 5 of those hours are just people telling Hasan how much they hate him. And him responding to that in real time. Nerd with the promise. Hasan's biggest issue is the nature of the platform and encourages those moments where he pops off at the wrong person because it's generally hard to differentiate from weirdos and sincere critique, but he can do a lot more that is honesty hard to pack in this message. Yeah, he engages with hate too much, and I do think that a lot of that is ego-based. When you have as big a platform as you have, and when you do have a strong set of very fervent fans, it's hard to remain balanced. And so Hasan actively chooses to put himself in that position, and that position will inevitably, once every 3 months, make Hasan do something that looks ass. That's my Hasan take for future reference. Hasan is not perfect. Hasan is not the extent of what the left should be. Hasan's politics, I probably am 90% aligned with, and that other 10% does annoy me sometimes, but I'm sure you can say the same thing about him. If he would just find the spirit to pull back from this machine more, he would probably be more effective. Let's get to the man that has moved up this list more than anyone that I'm almost scared to talk about. This is Westside Tyler. Westside Tyler, I found him a minute ago. I found him early because I was like, oh, this is new Vosh. I said in my head,
You're gonna be the new Vosh.
He did a really good Charlie Kirk video. He did a really good mouthwashing video. But more than anything, he's been a streamer, debate bro type. And I'm gonna just keep it real. Westside Tyler is probably the least hinged person on this list in real life. This man is not safe. Where I be finding these people? YouTube feeds them to me. YouTube knows I like to explore the outer edges. Westside Tyler's ex-military. He's real ex-military. He's got some Destiny vibes. He's got some Vosh vibes. He hates both of them. He hates Hasan. He will hate somebody you like to hear him hate. So first off, overall, while he has a scary, sketchy past on that military stuff, and he said some things I've heard, I haven't heard them firsthand. He was on Noah's stream at some point, and he was like, I don't know what he said or did, but everybody was off him after that. And I think it's probably because how he talks about his military experience, but I honestly don't know. Of all the people on this list, I'm gonna tell you one of the main reasons why I like Tyler off rip. Everybody else on this list existed online first. I don't think he's another Plattner. I don't think Tyler's on some Plattner shit. That mouthwashing video is really good. Tyler existed in the real world before he existed online, and you can tell. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the best way I could put it. He lived a real life, did some shit in the military that he's not proud of, but he still talks about like it's some shit he did, got married, did journalism. I don't know if grounded, because he's legitimately insane in his stream sometimes. Legitimately, I'm watching his stream and he will go off on a tangent about his rabbits. Everybody, here's what it is. All these other white bread tube types, these white lefty lib types, they talk about racism as if they've never been a part of that. As if the idea of racist and racism is just so far from where they've existed their entire lives. He's not talking about his own racist past, but he understands that psyche way and explains it way better than any other person on this list, in my opinion. I think Tyler is more honest. That might be what it is, yes, Yashpar. I believe Tyler when he talks more than any other white person on this list for the most part around these things. And that's why I always circle back to see what his perspective is on a given thing. Because when I hear Tyler break down like white supremacy and racism and in general fuckery with white people, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. The problem is, I know I'm gonna look far enough in one of his videos and he's gonna talk about shooting people in Iraq in a way that I'm like,
ooh, Tyler.
Also, he has like an irrational hatred of like Hasan that I just, he was part of the dog shock community, which I'm just like, all he on with the dog shock stuff get on my nerves. He's a wild boy. He is not for everyone. I personally would much rather get really good analysis than really safe allyship from YouTube. All right, soy pill. Soy pill. Yeah, I gotta put soy pill. I gotta put soy pill here, but I'll put him above Tyler. How do I explain soy pill? Soy pill's another debate bro. Soy pill is Bernie bro that actually learned something from that experience. Does that make sense? Is ideal standard white liberal. So there's two types of Bernie bros. There's Vosh and then there's soy pill. So there's Bernie bros who haven't learned anything and think that anybody that took issue with Bernie Sanders is wrong and just is staying in that same spot, waiting for everyone to come affirm their democratic socialist God. And then there's Bernie bros that were like,
Bernie lost twice. Why is that?
That's soy pill. Soy pill does edgy white boy humor. So that's always a mixed bag. Sometimes it's funny. And he does debate bro stuff, but of all the debate bros left in the game that still do debates, he's at the top of the food chain for me. And on the opposite end is bad empanada. Like, what's the safest way to get into bad empanada? Is there no way? Should I just keep it a buck? I've described bad empanada as the id of left tube. He used to make fundamentally useful, informative content. And now mostly he just makes drama slop. All right, P.F. Young. P.F. Young, as much as I tend to like his content, P.F. Young is sus. I do not know what to think about P.F. Young 75% of the time. The haircut alone. P.F. Young is either the most skillful neo-Nazi ever, or he is the key to figuring out how to engage with normal white people. His satire there's so many levels deep in his satire around political stuff that I'm like,
is this just racist?
Me and P.F. Young had a conversation. This was the last one we had because I was like, I don't know if I could keep doing this. Where we're talking about black fatigue shit and anti-white racism. And he's arguing the concept of anti-white racism. And I'm not really debating him. I'm just trying to be like, so where does this come from? Because of the nature of a lot of race scholarship, we don't really be paying attention to like the white psyche like that. Like, we oversimplify racism and white supremacy to a point where it makes it hard for us to even be able to effectively explain and analyze it. We flatten it in a way that actually lets them get away with shit. And so I always seek out, since I was young enough to understand racism, I've always tried to seek it out from its source. Not when it confronts me, I go to confront it. And we do need and so Bellamy, we need a white person to dissect this shit because they got a perspective that we don't. That's Westside Tyler. And so I like Young because Young really understands racism, maybe a little too much. But there's a there that I'm always paying attention to. Tabernacle, I'll put him above soy pill. So what if bad empanada was less unhinged? Like, Tabernacle also makes a lot of drama content, but still makes just straight up, like, if I want to know what the online left is mad about this week, I watch Tabernacle. But Tabernacle still also does a lot of beating up on Nebula people, which again, I don't know. The old bread tube, I don't know. Maybe it's because I wasn't here like that for old bread tube, or maybe it's because I started almost immediately as I became relevant reading black leftist stuff. I find beating up on ContraPoints and Philosophy Tube and H Bomber Guy to be really dumb. I get being critical of ContraPoints because, like, ContraPoints makes her presence more known when she has bad takes. So I get that overall. But it's also very parasocial to me, especially if that's not what your content is actively about. Let's get to Bo Burnham. Where are we putting Bo Burnham? Is there any reason to dislike Bo Burnham past the time he was like 17 years old? Bo Burnham is the reason why I'm here. He's one of the reasons why I'm here. Albino unicorn. He's Hollywood, so from a distance. Bo Burnham saying the FBI killed Martin Luther King was the first time millions of white people heard that. Do y'all realize that? Oh, hell yeah. White people don't know that FBI killed Martin Luther King. All right, Hank Green. It feel like every month I hear people are trying to cancel Hank Green. Some about Taylor Swift. Hank was iffy about Gaza. Liberal Zionists. Really? Has Hank said anything about what's happening in Palestine and Gaza, if I have to go to Threads or Twitter to find out, I'm definitely not doing it. I'm definitely not taking it seriously. He's an outspoken Zionist. I'd have seen that. Hank Green is who Ezra Klein thinks he is. That still sounds bad. I don't know. I think Hank is just the one good lib, and it's hard being the one good lib in 2025. It's not good enough. All right, Noah Sampson. Noah Sampson is my baby. I hope he's okay, because I ain't heard from Noah in a second. I need to hit him up, or let me hit up Foreign Man. I know him and Foreign Man talk regularly. He's probably out there doing work. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't have a single complaint about Noah. You know what? I'm tripping. Noah gets a plate. Noah gets a plate. The only problem with Noah is that Noah's not really white. And there it is. Noah's only aesthetically and psychologically white. But Noah's actually part Thai. And I think that Thai part is doing a lot of work. I love Noah because although I hope Noah's doing well and Noah, has left the online sphere, which I think is probably good for him because he wasn't feeling it. But the thing I love about Noah is kind of like something I said about Fantano and a lot of these folks is that Noah just is trying to do the right thing and is not super interested in being right. I think I said it in some video, do people want to be right or do they want to be correct? And Noah's always been about that. And the fact that Noah could very easily be just making money left and right, making, commentary e-boy videos. Noah never liked that. I admired that. Noah has changed his channel completely covering what's happening in Gaza. So I have nothing but respect for Noah on that regard. In fact, we got to put Noah above Dan Olsen. I love you, Dan. We got to put Noah above you. Adam from YNS. So I don't know about Canadians immediately sus. So politically, I think Adam again is like a normie liberal. Adam, I'm sure has some spicy takes, but Adam is part of a couple of people on here that's like the father. You know how I would put her on here, but I felt I wanted to be white male centered, but it's Adam, Lindsay Ellis, Nostalgia Critic, Red Letter Media are the forefathers of the whole video essay game. And so he makes dope videos about movies. You know what I mean? All right, Shane Gillis. Where do we put Shane Gillis? Is Shane Gillis sus? We're gonna observe Shane Gillis from a distance. Cause here's the thing. This is the interesting complex thing about white guys, right? So I'm gonna compare Shane Gillis real quick to Professor Sky. Shane Gillis, I'm gonna just put them over. They're not going to the cookout. Spoiler alert, nobody's invited to the cookout. You should have fucking known that. Not even John Brown. I got some smoke for John Brown. So Professor Sky is, I think, what most white people imagine they're doing when they say they're being an ally. So although I'm sure Professor Sky has some L's, he made a Charlie Kirk video that I understood, but it was the wrong time to make that video. He was just trying to get to the humanity of it all, which I get, but it wasn't the time for it. Whenever I see Professor Sky, he's given a good take and he's surrounded by good people. And the most questionable white person Professor Sky is associated with is Anthony Fantano. He wasn't doing Ezra Klein shit. Don't do that to Professor Sky. Nah, he wasn't doing Ezra Klein shit. It wasn't that bad. And I bring this up because it's important. So Shane Gillis to me is similar to, Hasan in that I actually think Shane Gillis has good views on things in general. However, he's way too comfortable with clearly problematic white people. I can hear a white guy talk and I can I can say in my head, okay, I kind of know where this dude's needles point. And I'm like, all right, I can associate with you. I can fuck with you. I can build with you, levels to that shit. But one of the things that I notice is that white guys, even with good politics, will be way too comfortable around white guys that are not racist to white people. If you haven't said slurs recently, then to a white person,
oh, you're not racist, cool.
And yes, I gotta admit it, that's also Hasan's problem. Hasan should have never had a show with Ethan Klein. Ever. All right, Nigathy Chalamet. What are we doing with Nigathy Chalamet? Are we observing him from a distance? Does he at least get to be over bad empanada? Where did Nigathy Chalamet come from? Yeah, I don't like the swagged out white boy thing. Not a fan. He said, bro got in a PG Lang ad and said, okay, personality shift time. So the deep lore from what I understand is that he's actually always been like this, which is really interesting, right? it's really interesting. It's like, again, this is my constant fascination with the existence of whiteness. Timothy Chalamet, Chalamet, am I saying his name right? Chalamet, from what I understand, was always a wigger. And they have the video evidence to prove it. He has old videos of him rapping and doing the Soulja Boy dance. And I know that white boy. Quiet as it's kept, I do not care, and I have no energy for taking issue with white boys that like hip hop. I find that to be so tiresome. That shit is so boring. And niggas be thinking they cooking with that shit.
This white boy likes rap music and I think that's bad.
And it's like, all right, nigga. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a criticism to have around the white influence on hip hop. The issue isn't with Timothy The issue isn't with Timothy Chalamet. The issue isn't with Timothy Chalamet. Damn. The issue isn't with Timothy Chalamet. The issue is with white supremacy in general and how that affects everything. And if you can only point that out in hip hop, I guess I'm just kind of annoyed that you stopped there. Niggas kept asking me about Jack Harlow a couple of years ago. I was so fucking annoyed because it's like Jack Harlow's was so mid. The irony is that his whiteness made him a superstar, both because that's what whiteness does to mediocre rappers, but also because niggas was so hyper-focused on pointing to Jack Harlow and saying, this is bad for hip hop, that like they couldn't pay attention to a Denzel Curry album. All right, White Jesus. Is White Jesus down here with Joe Rogan? Is White Jesus worse than Joe Rogan? AI White Jesus, I'm gonna say, is better than Joe Rogan. White Jesus only exists for the purpose of white supremacy. So I feel like the fact that he hasn't come back to correct that shit has to make him racist. You know what I'm saying? All right, Red Letter Media. I don't think the YouTube video essay exists without Red Letter Media. Now, I don't know them dudes at all. And Red Letter Media are the most, I don't know any black people motherfuckers I've ever seen on YouTube. They don't know no niggas. It's so obvious. They might have been the reason I made the Black Panther video, because I like their content, but their review of Black Panther was so devoid of understanding any of the black anything in the movie that I was like, oh my God. And I didn't even think it was like on some racist shit. It was just, they had absolutely no clue what to say. All right, Louis C.K. Louis C.K. was my favorite comedian for years. More than Dave, more than anybody. I loved Louis C.K. He was so damn funny. As a aging man that was having children, because I discovered Louis C.K. right when I was having kids and like was trying to figure out this next stage of adulthood. And his comedy had such a great perspective on like the horrors of aging and becoming not yourself anymore. Amazing at crafting jokes. The last thing I saw from him wasn't very funny. His post-cancellation special was not funny. It was probably worse than Dave's post-cancellation stuff. Is he doing the right? I know he's not doing the right-wing circuit. He's not doing the right-wing circuit. Fox Freeman, this is dope Louis C.K. shit right here. You're not raising the kid, you're raising the adults they're going to be. That was the type of shit Louis C.K. was putting on record before the weird sex stuff. Andrew Schulz. Is Andrew Schulz better than White Jesus? Because he's worse than Sus. He's not as bad as Rogan, but he's worse than White Jesus. Andrew Schulz is only here because of Charlemagne the God. Do y'all realize that? Schulz has done the whitest thing possible, which is come up under someone black, pivot to a white audience base, get bigger than the black person that brought them there, and then start being low-key racist. Andrew Schulz was just a comedian. He would do Guy Code, Charlemagne the God. That was his show on MTV2, back when that was a thing. I'm showing my age. Charlemagne had no white associates for years. And Charlemagne presented Schulz as this sensible, kind of down white boy. And I think at the time he might have had a black wife. Didn't Schulz used to have a black wife? Mix, whatever. His wife was biracial. Y'all know I don't do the biracial thing. Does his wife look black? If the police were looking for his wife, would they say, this is a black woman, we're looking for a black woman? If they were, then she black. Then again, she dated Andrew Schulz, so she didn't look black. So like, where did he find, like, so when Schulz starts being a Trump guy, what did that look like to Charlemagne? Like, what did that look like to him? When he starts hearing Andrew Schulz say, I'm voting for Donald Trump, what does that conversation sound like? Yeah, they still have a pod together. But no, like, one of the reasons why I was a Charlemagne apologist is Charlemagne is one of the first straight black men to platform black trans women, and not in a super exploitative, shitty way. He was probably one of the first, if not the first straight black man with a major platform to consistently platform black trans women. And though I'm sure he probably had some goofy, edgy jokes, he definitely platformed them in a way that they still don't get outside of their spaces. What's the girl from Orange is the New Black? Charlemagne's not the typical misogynist though, Juanisha. Like, he's more like that quiet misogyny we were doing early. Laverne Cox, thank you. Like, I've often made the comment that if the worst niggas in the world had the politics of Charlemagne, the world will be in a much better place. That doesn't give him a pass on all his other fuckery, but that's kind of why I was like, maybe there's value in where he's at. So I don't think he was ever on the trans stuff is too woke shit like Schulz. And that's kind of the thing that's so fascinating to me. Like, when Schulz starts saying the trans thing is getting too woke, what does Charlemagne, the first black man to platform trans women, think when he says that? I'm so curious as to how that conversation went. All right, Adam Conover. I like him a lot. I like him so much. I don't think there's any, are there any complaints? Did he do a Zionism that I don't know about too? Like, Adams Ruins Everything is iconic, pedantic, know-it-all nerd moment. And I just refuse to allow anybody to disrespect that. Adam Conover, holla at me. I'll come on the pod or whatever. Right. I really hate Dean Withers. I hate him so much. He is the most punchable liberal in the world. And he's not bad. I want to be clear. I hate him, but he's not bad. Does that make sense? He's just making lefty brain rot slop content. No, he doesn't get a plate because I punch him in the face for no reason. I have no reason to hate him as much as I do, but I might slap the shit out of him if I see him in real life. All right, CM Punk. Oh my God, CM Punk. I gotta put CM Punk at there's a point in time where I'd have brought CM Punk a plate, but CM Punk is the epitome of live long enough to become the villain. CM Punk is a lot like, he's like wrestling Bill Burr. Maybe I should okay, to be fair, I'll put CM Punk above Bill Burr. Punk started out like he was a punk, like real punk, low-key anarchist type vibes, said some real shit every once in a while. He's definitely left coded, left wing overall, probably more of a lib. But yeah, somebody said it. CM Punk will tweet free Palestine on a plane to Saudi Arabia to do a WWE show. And so it's just frustrating. Who we got left? Bill Maher. I think Bill Maher is worse than Joe Rogan. Am I tripping? Is Bill Maher worse than Joe Rogan? I think he is. I think Bill Maher is worse than Joe Rogan. Because at least Joe Rogan is kind of anti-genocide. They have the same takes. He might be a lot worse than Joe Rogan, real talk. Joe Rogan knows he's not really a progressive. Joe Rogan is a centrist. He's a normal guy. Whereas Bill Maher imagines himself a progressive, imagines himself a liberal and a evolved guy, despite the fact that he is a misogynist, an Islamophobe, a Zionist. You know what I'm saying? Mac Jones. Mac Jones is very sus. I made a video about Mac Jones. A white boy named McCorkle from Alabama? No way. No way. Punching niggas in the dick? Nick Bosa on there too. Him and Nick Bosa, that whole crew. He has at least 2 incidents of hitting niggas in the dick on the field. All right, Bernie Sanders. I'll put Bernie at the bottom of will associate publicly. Bernie Sanders, I've already made enough videos. The liberal Zionism of it all. Ooh, I might have to drop him for that. Yeah, you're right. We got to drop him for the liberal Zionism. Because when Candace Owens calls it a genocide before you, and don't get me on like this is not me giving it to Candace Owens. He endorsed Graham Plattner? Yeah. Bernie is everything I've ever said he was. Bernie is everything I ever said he was. I've never not cooked on Bernie Sanders. I've never not had the correct take on this motherfucker. Every time I've talked about Bernie Sanders, I've been 100% right. Both positive and negative, because I've never said Bernie Sanders was a bad guy. I didn't see the liberal Zionism coming. I didn't know what liberal Zionism was before a couple of years ago. I want to be clear. I never like to get too high and mighty around what's happening in Palestine, because that was a topic I was barely aware of before October 7th a couple of years ago. He's not attached to any useful perspective on black anything, and he swears that him marching with Martin Luther King in 1965 is all that we ever need to know about him when it comes to race. Norm Finkelstein. I feel like I'm gonna put Bo Burnham above Bad Empanada. Norm Finkelstein is Bad Empanada with a PhD. I think I cooked with that. If Bad Empanada had a PhD and wrote some books, he'd be Norm Finkelstein. Where at the end of the day, he says a lot of shit that I'm like, yeah. But he's so spicy and so up his own debate bro ass that every third time he talks, he's gonna say something where you're like, what are you talking about? Norm Finkelstein is a professional edgelord. He's a professional white leftist. All right, John Brown. If anybody should be invited to the cookout, it's John Brown. But there is no cookout. There's no cookout. There are no invites to the cookout. None whatsoever. The cookout is still closed. Now, John Brown is the #1 white man in history. He is the white man heavyweight champion of all time. I want to be clear on that. John Brown's crusade and his righteousness and his beliefs were actually to him more important than what he was doing for black people. That's low-key probably why they got caught. Don't get me wrong. Murdering slave masters, that's dope. It's kind of like Batman. You know how you say if Batman really wanted to stop crime, he would not be beating up mentally ill criminals on the street, and he'd be like creating infrastructure in Gotham City. That's kind of my critique of John Brown. This is not to say that John Brown isn't bad. John Brown should have been organizing, helping to arm and fund the slave uprising militia. I know Bruce Wayne does do philanthropy or something. I don't know enough about Batman. I don't know if that critique of Batman is all that great. That's just the one I know makes sense. All right, how we feeling about this? Anything else we want to change? Do we put Sky above Noah? That's why we dropped Noah one spot, because Sky is really white and Noah is cheating by not being all the way white. Sky's doing real work. Sky is a white guy from Boston. Sky is fighting demons. You know what I'm saying? Noah's cheating a little bit. Noah's a white passing Asian from the West Coast. So he ain't really had to fight the same demons everybody else is fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like, Noah didn't get the N-word discourse in his household the same way that I'm sure Sky did in his community. So Noah kind of got a head start. He has almost white privilege. Until food gets here, I guess we can play a little Tekken. Oh, no, food is here. Nobody's invited to the cookout. No, there is no cookout. I'm about to go eat. I love y'all, appreciate y'all. Happy New Year's.